Hello there, welcome back to Beauty Bees. I'm Iris. Today we are filming a Pan That Eyeshadows update. This is the third time I've filmed this intro. I keep trying to say this is a project pan those eyeshadows, and that's not right. But this time, I won't say I nailed it, but I at least didn't mess it up too badly. So, the way that I'm doing this project is based on Makeup with Lainey's. Her video, or her channel actually, I believe, is always linked down in the description box of these videos. Essentially, there's a prompt list when I finish a product, meaning when I hit pan, or just have been using something for 4 months, which is usually how things roll out of this project. I roll it out, I randomly select a new prompt, and I pick a new eyeshadow to work on. So I have 2 shades that are rolling out this month. The first has just been in for 4 months. It is from this Viseart Petite Pro Trois palette. And I was working on this shade right here, which is sort of a rosy brown. I have used this quite a bit. My tally sheet says I've used this 14 times. That's not right. I have used it far more than 14 times. At one point, I kind of stopped keeping track of my uses, and then I took that up again, but I don't think I've been doing a great job of it. Anyway, long way to say that I really haven't made a ton of progress on this. I can see that there is the tiniest little dip starting to form, but it's really nothing to write home about. But it's been 4 months. I have been getting pretty decent use on this shadow, and I'm ready to work on something else. The other product that I'm rolling out is much more exciting. I have Pan. This shadow I just brought in last month. This is from Wet n Wild, and it was originally in the 32 Pan palette. That's just what it was called. It's the Wet n Wild 32 Pan eyeshadow palette. And I got rid of that piece of packaging. I repressed the shades that I was interested in, and this is one of the shades. It is what I am wearing today. My makeup has been on for, I don't actually know how late it is, probably around 12 hours at this point, maybe even closer to 13. So you can see how it wears throughout the day. This eye is looking really good. This eye, there is some significant creasing, but this is well, I got the entire palette, I believe, for around $10. This is a really impressive shade for coming from a $10 palette. The texture is not as smooth as it once was because I'm not very good at repressing things. But this is a duochrome, actually. It has a pretty clear shift. I think you can start to see it at the edge there. On my eyes, I can definitely see that shift from this quite reddish coral to gold. It's really pretty. I am not wild about orange eyeshadow. Actually, when I was drawing my shades to bring in for this month, the first prompt that I pulled was a shimmery orange, and I was just like, no, we're not doing that. I'm not going to work on another one. But this actually, I think, works really well on my skin tone. I think that it really brings out my eyes. I quite liked working on this, and I'm so glad to have Pan in it. That's so exciting to me. Now, I didn't have to use this very much to hit Pan. I think I used it 4 or 5 times. However, every time that I used it, I used it over my entire lid. I used it on my lower lash line, which on my lower lash line, it's more or less worn away. But yeah, I'm really happy to have Pan, and I'm really excited to be able to bring in 2 new eyeshadows this month. But before we get to that, let's talk about the shades that are continuing in this project for another month. First, we have the shade from this ColourPop Cabana Club palette. I am working on Limelight, which is this sort of yellowy shade. There is a little bit of green to it, but it is not a gold. It is very much a shimmery yellow, which I like about it. I think that's really fun, something a little bit different. Now, I was using this really consistently last month. This month, I just didn't use it as much. I'm not sure why. It is really pretty. I think it'll be great for this time of year. Really, it was good for the month of June, but I think July, August, it will be absolutely perfect. I really like this palette. It is one that I want to reach for more often. I think that the quality on most of it is really top notch. I think these two shades are kind of a nightmare, especially this blue. This blue just stains everything. But the rest of the palette is really, really lovely. I mean, we were just talking about how I don't like orange eyeshadow, but in the context of this palette, with the other shades that I can bring in, I feel like these oranges actually work really well on me. So, happy to continue working on this. I think I used it like twice this month. Really not consistent at all about using it. Next up, we have a shade that I was terrible about using last month. I didn't use this shade at all in the first month it was in the project. This last month, I've used it 5 times. So that is a definite improvement. And the palette, in case I didn't show it obviously enough, is Teddy Girl from Butter London. And the shade that I have been working on is Penelope, which is this berry shade down here. The surface is starting to look pretty roughed up, so that's good, but I'm nowhere close to hitting pan in this. I am almost certain that the way that I will end up rolling this out of the project is when it reaches the 4-month mark, which is still 2 months in the future. But even if I made like 3 times as much progress in each of the next 2 months as I did this month, I still don't think I would hit pan. So yeah, there's the color. It is a really nice formula. It is not like the most pigmented eyeshadow ever, but it definitely does have some punchiness to it, and it's easy to blend, which I think is so much more important than a pigment punch, especially for me and my skin tone, the way that I like to wear makeup. I prefer a little bit of a more sheer wash of color than really bold, bright color on my face. So that works out for me. And then the last eyeshadow that I've had in this past month is from this little Lorac Mystic Oak palette. I love this thing so much. And the shade that I've been working on is right down here. It is this sort of bronzy shade. It's like a cool toned bronze. That's how I'm going to describe it. It's really pretty. It's very smoky. I mean, I think you could see, I have actually made some decent progress on it. This whole little quad of shimmery shades actually looks pretty well used. Not so much the 2 mattes. I mean, sort of on the lighter matte. The black, I barely ever use black eyeshadow, so it's not surprising that that is looking more or less untouched. There is that shade, isn't that pretty? It just has such a lovely shine to it. I got confused. I still have one more shade that I was working on this past month, though I wouldn't say I was really working on it. I think I wore this maybe once in the past month. This is Phone Home from Luxie, and it is beautiful. It is a green to pink to almost sort of silvery, shifty shade. Let me see. So there you're getting sort of a gold color, which I actually don't really see in person at all. I'm seeing entirely pink. There you're seeing a little bit more of the green. Can I get it to show the pink? I don't know. I can show you my lovely bruise. But no pink. I can see the pink. It's a really pretty shade. I can never get it to look quite as green as it does in the pan on the eye, but it's so pretty. I'm really happy with this shade. I should have worn it more. I'm not going to hit pan if I use something once a month. But alas. Now let's get to the exciting part where I get to talk about the shadows that I am bringing in for next month. So like I said earlier, was able to bring in 2 prompts this month. The first one was a topper, and then the second one was a shimmery green. Like I said, I did pull the shimmery orange prompt, but I vetoed that because I'm not going to do it. I'm just not. So instead of having a shade that I just avoided for 4 months in this project, I decided to bring in 2 that I would actually use. So let's talk about them. First up, we have from the ColourPop in a Trance palette, a topper shade, which this is going to be fun to work on. I also think I have a good chance of hitting pan on it. This is the shade Clarity, and it is originally a white with some purple iridescence to it. I accidentally sort of dyed a little bit of this purple by dipping a dirty finger or a dirty brush into it, but I sort of love the effect and I'm perfectly happy with it. I mean, look at that. Isn't that pretty? In another project, I'm working on this light purple, originally a gel liner in a pot, but I've been just using it as a purple eyeshadow base because there's not enough contrast with my skin to really be a nice eyeliner on me. I feel like I could layer this on top and it would just be gorgeous. Give this really pretty iridescent shine without being anything too overstated. Looking forward to that. And if we didn't get a good look at it, let's show again. I think you can tell there's already a very good dip going on in this. I don't think it should be a struggle to hit pan, but I'm really good at struggling to hit pan in things. So I wouldn't put it past myself to just use this consistently for 4 months and then have to roll it out with no pan. The other product I brought in was actually a little harder to figure out because I already had this green Phone Home in the project, and a lot of my green eyeshadows are either like really hard to wear for every day or they're very yellowy, and I already have Limelight in the project, which is a yellow but definitely has just a little pinch of green. I didn't want my eyeshadows to be competing with each other for my attention. I'd really like to be able to use them together if possible. So what I eventually settled on is a shade from this Lorac Fairy Tale Forest. This is actually from the same collection, I think, as the Mystic Oak, and I love it just as much. But here is what this palette looks like. I have gotten quite a bit of good use on some of these shimmers, especially. This pink has a good amount of use on it, and this lightest champagne shade also has some good use on it. But the shade that I'm bringing in this month is this olive green. I'm pretty sure that this palette has shade names, but that maybe they came in a like little plastic sheet and I got rid of that because I don't care. I don't need to know what the shade's name is. This is a beautiful olive green shade. And in person, I can sort of tell that it's maybe a brown base with olive and gold shimmer in it. But the overall effect is just so pretty. I feel like this would also be a really good one shadow look, or smudge this everywhere and maybe put a little bit of something super neutral in the crease. It's pretty similar depth. It's not so dark that I would feel out of place or like it was inappropriate to wear this to work. It's just really pretty. I think it'll be fun to work on. All right, so as a review, the shades I am working on this month are these four, and then these two. And man, that purple keeps catching my eye. That is just gorgeous. I want to put that all over myself. And I have actually used it as a highlight in the past. I might need to bust it out again for that purpose, because look at that. And on that note, I think I'm gonna head out. Thank you guys so much for watching. I really hope you enjoyed. Consider liking and subscribing if you did, and I hope to see you next time. Bye!